The sound of metal echoed in the dark room. Ethan Cole slowly opened his eyes, but there was nothing to see. Only blackness. He could feel the cold floor under his hands, the vibration of machines through the walls, and the faint smell of oil and smoke. He was blind. And this was not Earth. A deep mechanical hum filled the air. Somewhere far above, engines roared like thunder. He could hear alien voices, harsh clicking sounds mixed with strange words he didn't understand. His heart pounded. Where am I? He thought. The last thing he remembered was the battlefield. Fire, screams, then a flash of light. Then nothing. Now he was awake in a cage. Ethan reached out, touching the metal bars. They were smooth, warm, almost alive. As his fingers traced the surface, a shock of energy ran through him. He pulled his hand back, breathing hard. From the distance came footsteps, heavy, slow, echoing. He listened carefully. There were two of them walking toward him. One had a deep robotic tone, the other a high, cruel laugh. Unit H7, human specimen number 12. Prepare for ceremony, one said. The blind one? The other replied. Ha! What a joke. Ethan clenched his fists. He didn't understand what ceremony they meant, but his gut told him it wasn't good. Then, a smooth voice spoke through the intercom, calm, powerful, and full of authority. Attention. The Great Unity Project begins. All captured species will be paired for alliance reproduction. May this bring peace to the galaxies. Ethan froze. Paired? What kind of peace was this? A door hissed open. Bright light hit his face, but he couldn't see it, only feel the warmth. Hands grabbed him roughly, pulling him up. He fought back, but he was weak. The guards dragged him into another room where the air smelled different, sweet like flowers mixed with metal. He was pushed forward. Then he heard her voice, soft, shaky, alien. No, not this one. I said I will not take another human. Ethan turned toward the sound. Who are you? He asked. There was silence for a moment. Then she spoke again, her tone quieter now. They call me the Unwanted. Her voice carried pain, deep and old. He could hear it even without seeing her face. Unwanted? He repeated. Yes, she whispered. A failed creation. A curse to my kind. The guards laughed. You two are perfect. The blind and the broken. Ethan's blood boiled. Let me go, he shouted, but they ignored him. The guards left the room and the door sealed with a metallic click. Silence filled the space. He could feel someone standing close, breathing softly. He felt her presence like heat. Why did they bring us here? He asked. She didn't answer at first. Then she said slowly, because they want to see what happens when two lost things are forced together. Ethan sat down on the floor, trying to calm his heart. So they gave me a wife I can't see. And you didn't want me. There was a small, bitter laugh from her. You are blind. Maybe that is mercy. You don't have to see what I am. Her words cut through the air like a knife. Ethan turned his head, trying to locate her by sound. You sound lonely, he said quietly. She didn't reply, but he heard her take a shaky breath. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Only the distant hum of the alien ship surrounded them. Then a faint alarm began to ring somewhere outside. It grew louder, faster. Red lights flashed. Though Ethan couldn't see them, he could feel the rhythm of danger in the vibrations. What's happening? He asked. Seraphis, the unwanted alien, whispered almost to herself. They are coming. The rebellion has found the ship. Ethan stood up quickly, hands shaking. Rebellion? What does that mean? Before she could answer, the floor trembled. A massive explosion tore through the wall. Air rushed out and the room filled with the sound of screaming alarms. Ethan fell to his knees, grabbing the ground to stay balanced. In the chaos, he felt something, a hand touching his arm. Warm, soft, trembling, it was her. Stay close to me, she said, if you want to live. Ethan didn't know why, but he trusted her. Her hand tightened around his wrist and he felt a strange energy, like electricity and heartbeat mixed together. For the first time since he lost his sight, he saw something. Not with his eyes, but in his mind. A flash of light. A figure with glowing skin, wings of silver energy, eyes full of sadness. Then everything went dark again. The ship shook violently, alarms screaming louder than before. And over the noise, Ethan heard her whisper, right next to his ear. They call me unwanted, but they will regret ever giving me to you. The sound of an explosion swallowed her words. Smoke filled the air. The ship trembled like a dying beast. Alarms screamed in every direction. Ethan couldn't see, but he felt everything. The rumble, the heat, the fear. Seraphis held his wrist tightly as they ran through the shaking corridor. Her touch burned, not from fire, but from some strange energy that flowed through her skin. "Where are we going?" Ethan shouted. "To the escape pods," she yelled back. "Move faster." They turned sharply, feet slipping on the metal floor. The air smelled like fire and alien chemicals. Ethan could hear explosions echoing behind them. He had no idea where he was going. He only followed her voice, her footsteps, her warmth. Suddenly, a heavy blast threw them off balance. They hit the floor hard. Ethan groaned, feeling blood on his lip. Seraphis got up quickly. "Stay down," she warned. He heard her move, sunk graceful like a shadow. Then a new sound cut through the chaos, the click of alien weapons charging. "Target located. The defective female and the human, terminate." Ethan ducked. He couldn't see, but he heard the hum of a plasma gun, then what a high-pitched scream of energy. Boom! The air shook. Heat blasted across his face. He smelled burning metal and ozone. When the noise faded, he heard Seraphis breathing heavily. What did you do?" Ethan asked, stunned. "I defended you," she said coldly. He touched the ground. It was warm, melted. She had destroyed them. But how? She grabbed his arm again. "Don't ask questions. Just keep moving." They ran again, the alarms growing louder. Ethan could hear voices shouting in alien language, orders, screams, and fear. The rebellion outside was attacking, and inside chaos ruled. Finally, they stopped. The air felt different, cooler, quieter. Ethan could hear the soft hum of machinery and the hiss of air vents. "We're safe. For now," Seraphis said. Ethan leaned against the wall, gasping for breath. "You killed them," he said quietly. She turned her head, her voice calm but bitter. "If I didn't, they would have killed you. Or me, maybe both," Ethan frowned. "You talk like you've done this before." "I have," she replied, her voice distant. "My kind made me for war. But when they saw what I became, they called me a monster. That's why they gave me to you as a blind human. They thought you were harmless. They thought I wouldn't care." Ethan tilted his head. "Wouldn't care?" Her voice softened for the first time. "They believed I would let you die." There was silence. Only the hum of the ship surrounded them. Ethan sat down slowly. "Then why didn't you?" She didn't answer. He waited, hearing the faint sound of her breathing. Then softly she said, "Because you called me lonely." Ethan's heart skipped. "I didn't mean—" "I know," she interrupted. "But no one ever said that to me. They called me weapon, defect, mistake, but never lonely." For a moment the air felt heavy, like something deep had just cracked open between them. Ethan smiled slightly. "Well, maybe that's because they never listened." Her voice trembled, almost human. "You speak too kindly for someone who can't even see who he's talking to." "Maybe that's why," he said. Then, a loud explosion shook the walls again. Seraphis cursed under her breath. "The rebels are inside." "We have to go, but you said we were safe." "No one is safe on this ship anymore." She helped him up and they ran again. This time he noticed something new. Her steps were uneven, slower. "You're hurt," he said. "Don't worry about me," she replied, but he could hear the pain in her voice. He stopped. "No, tell me where." She tried to pull away, but he held her hand. His fingers touched something warm and sticky. Blood, but not human. It felt thicker, almost glowing with heat. "I said, let go." She snapped, but her voice cracked. Ethan shook his head. "You saved me. Now it's my turn." He tore a strip from his sleeve and wrapped it around her wound. She was silent as he worked, and when he finished, she whispered, "No one has ever done that for me." He smiled. "Then you've been around the wrong people." The floor shook again. This time closer. Seraphis stepped back. "You don't understand, Ethan. I wasn't made to survive. I was made to destroy." Before he could answer, the ceiling above them cracked. A fireball tore through the hallway, throwing both of them backward. Ethan hit the ground hard. Through the smoke he heard her voice, soft, distant, fading. "If I lose control, don't stay near me." He crawled toward the sound, coughing. "Seraphis!" But there was no answer, only the echo of her warning. Then far away he heard heavy footsteps, alien soldiers closing in. Ethan clenched his fists. He couldn't see. He couldn't fight. But he wasn't going to lose her. Not her. He whispered into the smoke. "I don't care what they call you. You're not unwanted to me." And somewhere in the dark, unseen by him. Seraphis' eyes glowed bright silver. Her power was awakening. The old freighter drifted in silence through the dark void of space. Its metal shell was cracked, its lights flickering like dying stars. Inside, Ethan Cole sat on the cold floor, his back against the wall, listening to the hum of broken engines. He couldn't see Bun, but his world wasn't as dark as before. Ever since the explosion, something had changed. Every sound, every vibration, every breath felt alive to him. He could sense the shape of the room from how air moved around him. He could even feel when Seraphis entered before she made a single sound. She stood quietly by the doorway now, her body still healing from the fight. "You shouldn't move so much," Ethan said softly. Seraphis tilted her head, surprised. "How did you know I was here?" He smiled faintly. "I can feel it. The air changes when you walk in." Her silver eyes narrowed. "Humans shouldn't be able to do that." "Maybe I'm not a normal human anymore," he said, trying to joke. But deep inside, he knew something strange was happening to him. Ever since he touched her hand during the escape, his mind felt different, sharper, connected to something unseen. Seraphis walked closer. Her voice softened. "You're adapting. Blindness sharpened your other senses. But this," she paused, "this is more. It feels like you're linked to me." Ethan turned his head toward her voice. "Linked?" She hesitated. "When I was created, they said my energy could bond with another life form if contact lasted long enough. It was meant for control, not whatever this is." Ethan chuckled quietly. "So now we share something the aliens never planned." Seraphis looked at him for a long time. In the dim light, her silver skin shimmered faintly. She sat down beside him, her movements careful, almost human. For a few minutes, neither of them spoke. Only the hum of the engines filled the silence. Then Ethan said, "You saved me twice. Why do you keep helping me, Seraphis?" Her voice came low and sad. "Because when you touch me, the voices stop," he frowned. "Voices?" "Yes. My creators built me with 1,000 memories of dead soldiers. Their screams live in my head, always whispering, always crying. But when I'm near you, they go silent. For the first time in years, I feel peace." Ethan's chest tightened. "Then stay close. Maybe that's what we both need." Her eyes softened. For a moment, she almost smiled, but then the ship shuddered. A warning light blinked above them. "What now?" Ethan asked, gripping the floor. "Someone is following us," Seraphis said, scanning the monitors. "A small scout ship. They're using tracking pulses." Ethan could hear the faint ping-ping sound through the hull. "Can we hide?" She shook her head. "No. They'll find us in minutes." She stood up, her body glowing faintly as she focused her energy. "Stay behind me. I'll handle them." Ethan grabbed her arm. "Wait, you're still hurt. You can't fight alone." "I was made to fight," she said simply. "I don't care what you were made for," Ethan snapped. "You don't have to do this alone." She stared at him, speechless. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Not with anger, but with care. Finally, she nodded once. "Then we fight together." Minutes later, the ship shook again as the enemy boarded. Heavy footsteps echoed down the corridor. Alien soldiers searching for them. Ethan crouched behind a console. He couldn't see, but he could feel their movement. Each step was like a ripple in the air. His new sense painted invisible shapes in his mind, shadows of bodies moving closer. He whispered, "3 of them, coming from the left." Seraphis turned sharply toward the direction he described. She fired a burst of energy, perfect aim. The soldiers screamed and fell. She looked at him in shock. "You were right." "You saw them?" Ethan took a deep breath. "Not with my eyes. I don't know how, but I did." Seraphis stared, realizing the truth. "Our bond is growing." Before they could speak again, a metallic voice echoed through the ship's speaker. "Seraphis 01 detected. Return now or be destroyed. You cannot run from your creators." Ethan clenched his fists. "Who are they?" Seraphis's voice trembled. "The Dominion. The ones who made me and want me dead." The freighter shook violently again as enemy ships surrounded them. Lights flickered. Air hissed from the vents. Ethan grabbed her hand. "Then we run, together." Seraphis looked at him, her eyes glowing brighter. "You don't understand. If they catch me, they'll use me to destroy worlds. I can't let that happen." Ethan held her tighter. "Then we find another way." A single tear slipped from her alien eyes, glowing faintly like liquid silver. You're blind, Ethan. You can't even see what I am. He smiled softly. I don't need to. She stared at him for a long moment. Then for the first time she whispered his name, not coldly but gently. Ethan. And outside, the enemy ships charged their weapons. Inside, two broken souls, human and alien, stood side by side, ready to fight the darkness together. The stars outside were burning red. Enemy ships surrounded the freighter like wolves circling a dying beast. Inside, Ethan stood beside Seraphis, the air thick with tension and the smell of metal. The ship trembled again. Another blast hit the hull. Pieces of debris fell from the ceiling. Shields are gone, Seraphis said, her voice calm but cold. They're boarding us in less than 1 minute. Ethan tightened his grip on the pipe he was holding. Then we make that 1 minute count. Seraphis glanced at him. Her silver eyes flickered with light. You're human. You can't fight them. He smiled faintly. Then it's a good day to surprise them. She didn't argue, just turned away, her hands glowing with faint blue energy. Her body shimmered, the metallic patterns on her skin lighting up like runes. When the enemy entered, the ship filled with chaos. The first alien soldier burst through the door, his armor black and sharp like stone. He didn't even have time to aim. Seraphis raised her hand and a wave of energy slammed him against the wall. Ethan ducked behind cover, listening carefully. He could feel movement, the vibration of boots, the air shifting, weapons charging. His strange new sense painted invisible shadows in his mind. One on your left, he shouted. Seraphis turned instantly, firing another blast. The soldier dropped. She looked back at Ethan. You feel them before they move, she said in disbelief. Guess I'm learning from the best, he replied. The next explosion rocked the corridor. Fire spread along the walls. Smoke filled the air. But Ethan could still sense her near him, her presence like a living pulse of warmth in the chaos. They kept fighting side by side, human instinct and alien power blending into something unstoppable. For every soldier that entered, 2 more fell, but it wasn't enough. From the intercom came a voice, deep, emotionless. Seraphis 01, surrender. You belong to the Dominion. The human is irrelevant, Seraphis froze. Ethan heard her breathing change. It's him, she whispered. The one who made me. The voice continued. You were created to destroy, not to feel. Your emotions are a defect, and I will fix that mistake. Ethan frowned. Don't listen to him. Seraphis shook her head. You don't understand, Ethan. He controls my core. If he triggers it... Before she could finish, her body convulsed. Blue light flashed across her skin. She screamed, a sound that made the metal walls vibrate. Ethan ran to her. Seraphis, what's happening? Her voice cracked. He's trying to override me, to make me his weapon again. Ethan held her shoulders, ignoring the burning heat from her skin. Fight it. You're not his tool anymore. She trembled, her hands gripping his arms. I can't. Yes, you can. His voice was firm now. You're not unwanted. Not anymore. For a second, the light dimmed. The blue glow softened. Her breathing steadied. Then, silence. Seraphis opened her eyes slowly. The light faded, replaced by something new. Calm determination. He can't control me if I destroy the link, she said. Ethan frowned. How? By destroying this ship. He shook his head. That'll kill us both. Maybe, she said softly. But if I don't, he'll use me to kill millions. The walls groaned again as another blast hit. The Dominion soldiers were close, footsteps echoing through the metal halls. Ethan took a deep breath. We'll find another way. There is no other way, she whispered. My life was never meant to last. I was born in a lab not to live, but to end things. He stepped closer, touching her hand. Then let me change that. She looked at him, her silver eyes reflecting the flickering firelight. For a moment, something like hope appeared in them. Then the door burst open. Dominion soldiers stormed in. Seraphis moved like lightning. Her energy flared, blasting through armor and fire. But more came. Ethan fought too, blindly swinging the pipe, guided only by instinct and sound. One soldier aimed at Seraphis. Ethan heard the weapon charge and jumped in front of her. The shot hit his shoulder. Pain exploded through him. Ethan, she screamed, catching him before he fell. He smiled weakly. Guess I'm not as fragile as they thought. Rage and fear burned in her chest. The light on her skin turned bright white. She stood, lifting her hands and unleashed a massive wave of energy. The entire ship shook. Every soldier vanished in a storm of light. When the silence returned, Seraphis dropped to her knees beside Ethan. "You're hurt," he coughed, blood on his lips. "Just a scratch." She pressed her glowing hand against his wound. Energy flowed into him, and warm and alive. The pain began to fade. He whispered, "How did you?" Her voice trembled. "It's not healing. It's sharing. I gave you part of my life force." He tried to protest, but she placed a finger on his lips. "Don't speak. Just breathe." Outside the window, Dominion ships burned in the distance. Inside the broken freighter, the blind human and the unwanted alien sat together in silence. Two survivors in a dying galaxy. Seraphis looked at the stars and whispered, "They'll come again." Ethan turned his head toward her voice. "Then let them. We'll be ready." And as the ship drifted quietly through the darkness, a strange light surrounded them both. Not from the stars, but from something new, something between them. The freighter had burned out long ago. Now only silence remained. Ethan Cole woke to the soft hum of a new world. No engine noise, no alarms, no soldiers. Just the whisper of wind brushing across dry stone. He was lying on rough ground, his body aching. The air smelled faintly sweet, thin but breathable. Somewhere close, water dripped slowly into a small pool. He moved his fingers and felt warmth beside him. It was Seraphis. Her skin glowed faintly like silver fire under a pale sun. "We crashed," she said softly. "The ship couldn't hold orbit. We're on a deserted moon now." Ethan sat up slowly. "Anyone else here?" She shook her head. "No life signs, no ships. Just us." For the first time since his capture, Ethan felt the strange calm of quiet. No sirens, no war. Just two survivors in a world of stone and dust. "How long have I been out?" he asked. "2 cycles," she replied. Then added softly, "About 2 days." Ethan smiled faintly. "So you watched over me for 2 days?" Seraphis looked away. "You wouldn't stop bleeding. I didn't want you to die." He turned toward her, voice reaching out carefully. His fingers brushed her hand, and it was cool, smooth, yet alive with a faint vibration. "Thank you," he said. She didn't move her hand away. They sat in silence for a while, listening to the distant wind. Somewhere far above, the stars burned brighter than ever, huge and endless. Seraphis finally spoke. "You humans are strange." "How so?" "You care for things that bring you pain. You protect what cannot protect you. You love what you can't control." Ethan chuckled softly. "Maybe that's what makes us human." She tilted her head, studying him. "You lost your eyes. You live in darkness, yet you still smile," he shrugged. "Darkness isn't so bad when you get used to it." She frowned slightly. "For me, darkness is all I've ever known." Her words hung in the air. There was something lonely in her tone, a quiet sadness that made Ethan's chest tighten. He said gently, "Maybe that's why we met. Two broken things that see better in the dark." Seraphis looked at him, her glowing eyes softening. "You always say strange things, human. And yet, you never leave," he replied with a smile. For the first time, she laughed. A quiet, melodic sound that didn't sound alien at all. As hours passed, they built a small camp using wreckage from the ship. Seraphis used her energy to heat the metal, creating light in the cave they found. It shimmered like a living lantern, glowing softly in rhythm with her pulse. Ethan sat beside the light, listening to it hum. "Your energy. It sounds alive," he said. She nodded slowly. "It is. My body was made from biocrystal. It reacts to emotion." "What happens when you feel something strong?" he asked curiously. She hesitated. "It grows unstable. It changes me." Ethan smiled. "Changes can be good. Not for me," she whispered. "When I feel too much, I lose control. I destroy everything near me." He reached out again, finding her hand. "Then I'll help you stay calm." She looked down at his touch, her silver glow flickering gently. "You're not afraid?" He shook his head. "No, I've already lived in fear. I'm tired of it." For a long time, neither spoke. The soft hum of her light filled the silence, mixing with the sound of Ethan's heartbeat. Then something unexpected happened. Her glow began to pulse faster, brighter, as if her heart and his had found the same rhythm. Seraphis froze, her eyes wide. "It's happening again." Ethan frowned. "What is?" "My core. It's reacting to you." "It shouldn't. This bond is unstable. He stood, his hand still on hers. Seraphis, look at me. She did. I don't care what your people made you for. You're not a weapon anymore. You're more than that, her voice trembled. And you're not afraid that I might explode? He smiled softly. If you do, I'll still be right here. Her breath caught, a soft, human-like sound. The glow from her body spread, casting silver light across the cave walls. For a moment, the world didn't feel empty anymore. But then, her light flickered violently. Pain flashed across her face. She dropped to her knees, clutching her chest. It's too strong. I can't stop it. Ethan knelt beside her, holding her shoulders. Breathe. Focus on my voice. Her skin grew hotter, the glow so bright it hurt even his blind eyes. I can't. Yes, you can, he said firmly. You're not alone this time. Her trembling slowed. The light faded, shrinking back to a soft silver glow. Ethan pulled her close, his heart pounding. It's okay. You're safe. For a moment she stayed still, her head resting against his shoulder. I felt it, she whispered. Your heartbeat. It matched mine, he smiled faintly. Maybe that's what connection really is. Her voice was quiet now, almost human. I was made to destroy life, Ethan, but with you, I feel alive. Outside, the wind howled across the empty moon. Inside, two hearts, one human, one alien, beat together in the dark. Neither knew it yet, but the bond that saved them tonight would soon decide the fate of worlds. The cold light of dawn crept over the barren moon. The ground shimmered with frost, and the broken freighter lay half-buried in sand. Ethan sat near the wreckage, feeling the faint warmth of a fire made from broken circuits. He couldn't see the sunrise, but he could feel it, the change in the air, the stillness before light. Behind him, Seraphis stood silently, her silver form glowing faintly against the gray sky. She hadn't spoken much since the night her power nearly destroyed them both. Seraphis, Ethan said softly. You've been quiet. Her voice came slowly. Because I'm afraid of what comes next. He tilted his head. Afraid you? I was never meant to feel fear, she said. Or love or pain. My creators built me with all the strength of a god, but none of the right to choose. Ethan turned toward her. Tell me the truth, Seraphis. What are you? She hesitated, the longest silence he'd ever heard from her. Then she whispered, I'm not a soldier, Ethan, I'm a weapon. He frowned. A weapon? She nodded, her eyes glowing brighter. Inside me is a reactor and a living core. It was designed to feed on emotion and turn it into energy. The stronger the emotion, the stronger the explosion. Ethan's heart sank. So when you feel... Yes, she said quietly. When I feel too much, I become unstable. The more I care, the closer I get to ending everything around me. He stood slowly, walking toward her voice. That's why they called you Unwanted. Her expression darkened. They said I was too dangerous. I was supposed to destroy enemy worlds, but during my first test, I couldn't do it. I saw children in the city below. I hesitated. The Dominion saw that as failure, so they locked me away and built a new one. Ethan's voice was soft but full of pain. They made you to kill and punished you for feeling mercy. She looked away. Mercy was my first mistake. No, he said firmly. It was your first act of humanity. Her eyes flickered as if she didn't understand the word. Humanity. A weakness, they said. He smiled faintly. Maybe, but it's also what makes us worth saving. For a moment she said nothing. Then very quietly she asked, And what if I can't control it, Ethan? What if my feelings for you destroy everything? He stepped closer. Then let it destroy everything but us. She stared at him, this fragile, blind human who spoke like he carried stars in his chest. Her body trembled, not from fear but from emotion. You don't understand what you're saying. Maybe not, he admitted, but I know what I feel. And I'd rather burn with you than live without you. Her eyes filled with light, brighter than before, but softer too. Your words could kill us both. Then they'll die honest, he whispered. The silence that followed was thick with emotion, until a sudden, sharp sound broke through it. A beeping tone. Faint at first, then louder. Seraphis froze. No, it's not now. What is it? Ethan asked. She touched her chest, her expression full of dread. They've activated my signal. The Dominion found me. They can see my location. Ethan's heart raced. How far away are they? She looked up at the sky, her voice heavy. Close enough to end this moon in minutes. He took her hands. Then we have to hide, she shook her head. You don't understand. When they come, they'll trigger my core remotely. I'll explode before they even land. Ethan tightened his grip. Then we stop them first, she laughed bitterly. Stop them? You're blind. I'm broken. We're two dying sparks in a galaxy full of fire. He smiled, calm and certain. Maybe. But even dying sparks can start something new. Her glow flickered again, unstable. She could feel his warmth, his heartbeat. The reactor inside her responded, pulsing faster, matching the rhythm of his heart. She gasped. Ethan, something's happening. He held her tighter. What? Our connection, it's merging. I can see your thoughts, he smiled faintly. Then see this. In that moment, Seraphis's vision filled with light. Not from the moon, but from him. She saw his memories, the laughter of his friends, the day he lost his sight, the moment he first heard her voice. She felt his fear, his kindness, his love. Tears formed in her silver eyes. You saw beauty even in blindness. And you, he whispered, found life in being unwanted. But the beeping grew faster, warning tones flashing through her mind. Seraphis stepped back, trembling. It's too late. My core is active. I can't stop it, Ethan shook his head. We can, together. She reached out, her hands shaking. If we link again, I might hurt you, he smiled. Then you'll have to trust me. Their hands met, light and shadow merging again. The glow turned white, surrounding them both. Somewhere above, Dominion ships entered orbit, preparing to strike. But below, in the ruins of a forgotten world, two hearts, one human, one alien, beat in perfect rhythm, defying everything the universe had planned. The unwanted weapon had found something she was never built for. Love. The sky above the moon was no longer dark. It burned. Flames of silver and red streaked across the clouds as Dominion warships descended, their engines screaming through the thin air. The ground shook with every blast. Ethan stood beside Seraphis near the wreckage of their ship. Wind whipped around them, carrying the scent of ozone and smoke. His body ached, but his grip on her hand never loosened. How many? He asked. Seraphis's voice was steady but cold. Too many. A fleet, he smiled faintly. Then they really want you back. Her silver eyes turned toward him. They don't want me back, Ethan. They want to erase me. The wind grew stronger. The Dominion's voice echoed across the air, mechanical and cruel. Seraphis 01, you were designed to obey. You defied purpose. You bonded with a human. Now you will end with him. Seraphis's glow pulsed. They always thought I was a failure, she said quietly. But they were wrong. Ethan turned toward the sound of her voice. Then let's show them. She looked at him, at the man who had taught her what it meant to feel. If we fight, my power could kill you, he smiled softly. You once told me you were made to destroy. Maybe now you're meant to save. Her hands trembled as she touched his face. I can't lose you. You won't, he whispered. Because we'll end this together. The first wave of Dominion soldiers landed. The ground split open under the pressure of their drop pods. Dozens of armored figures emerged, weapons glowing with blue light. Ethan gripped a metal rod from the wreckage, standing beside her. You take the big ones, he said. I'll handle the rest. Seraphis almost laughed. You're blind, human, he smirked. Not where it counts. They moved as one. Seraphis unleashed a storm of light, her body radiating waves of pure energy. Soldiers were thrown into the air like leaves in wind. Ethan moved through the smoke, striking blindly but perfectly, guided by sound, by instinct, by their shared connection. Every hit, every step, every breath, they were one rhythm. But then, the sky darkened. From the largest ship above, a massive cannon began to glow. Seraphis's heart pulsed violently. It's them, she whispered. The control signal. They're trying to trigger my core. Ethan held her hand. Then fight it. Her knees hit the ground. The glow in her chest turned fierce, wild. I can't. It's too strong. He fell beside her, holding her close. Then use me. Use our bond. Let me share the weight, her eyes widened. Ethan, if I link fully, your body won't survive. He smiled weakly. Then let's make it count. He pressed his forehead against hers. Their minds collided. A surge of light exploded between them. Suddenly, Seraphis was inside his memories again. Earth, the sun, laughter, rain. She saw a world worth saving. and for the first time she felt not fear, but hope. Her voice echoed through their shared link. I see it now. Through you. And I see through you, Ethan whispered back. You were never unwanted. You were the universe's mistake, that finally turned right. The Dominion fleet fired. 1,000 beams of light fell from the sky, but before they could hit the moon, a blinding wave erupted from Seraphis's body. It spread across the horizon, swallowing the storm, bending the light itself. Ethan held her tightly as the power consumed them both. Seraphis. Her voice came through the light, calm, pure, alive. They'll regret what they did to us. And then, silence. Hours later, the Dominion fleet was gone. What remained was a new star, glowing silver and gold in the blackness of space. It pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. Across the galaxy, ships paused and looked toward the light. Scanners couldn't identify it. Some called it a supernova. Others called it a miracle. But those who once knew the name Seraphis understood. The weapon they had thrown away had become a legend. Centuries passed. Explorers from distant colonies visited the strange new star. They found no trace of the Dominion, only peace. When their ships drew near, sensors picked up a faint energy pattern, 2 life signatures, forever entwined in the heart of the light. And if you listened closely through the static of the cosmos, you could almost hear a voice. They gave the blind man the unwanted bride, and now the stars carry their names. The universe had tried to erase them. Now it would remember them forever.